Next item.
Under Education, Secondary English Language Arts Curriculum Pilot Process. The purpose of this presentation is to share results of data collected during the pilot of secondary comprehensive English Language Arts curriculum programs. Page 7 of this BOE agenda includes the Secondary English Language Arts Curriculum Adoption Agenda item. This presentation is for the board's information.
Thank you, ladies. Welcome.
Oh,
We're glad
good
to see you.
evening. Good evening to the board and colleagues. This is my first time to be in front of you like this, and I appreciate the opportunity to work with and serve the staff and students and community of Wichita Public Schools. I've learned a lot in my short tenure with the district and in my shorter tenure in the position. Before I turn things over to Mrs. Christy O'Toole, who is our Executive Director of Curriculum and Instruction, I also want to say how impressive that our system for collecting and disseminating information in such a large district, it is impressive, it is sophisticated, and you're getting ready to hear the details of that work. Mrs. O'Toole.
All right, well, I'm excited to be here tonight and share with you a recommendation from the secondary ELA curriculum pilots. Sure. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so we wanted to start with just a reminder about the Wichita work groups, our MTSS work groups. They are a diverse group of leaders from various levels and departments that organize, problem solve, communicate, collaborate to identify recommendations that align strategies and resources to support the implementation of the MTSS framework. And this is an example, you'll see on this slide, this is an example of our different work groups. Our first work group began in 2011 at the top, that's the literacy work group. And then our most recent work group was the technology one that was added at the bottom this year. So what our work groups do, they recommend and problem solve together and make recommendations to the academic leadership team. We have tonight a recommendation for you from the literacy work group that went to the academic leadership team, and now the final decision is with you, the Board of Education. So our work group target was to recommend a secondary ELA comprehensive curriculum to implement next year. This work aligns with our district strategic plan because we're working to ensure all of our students are successful, and we are working to increase our high school graduation rate, and that definitely helps if we have a curriculum that aligns with our state standards. We did want to take a moment to recognize that we have a great group of members of our literacy work group, and some of them are here. So if you are here, would you please stand so we can thank you and clap for you? So from a historical perspective, in 2010, we adopted the Common Core plus the additional 15% of the Kansas standards that were added to that. And we also at that time, due to our outdated curriculum, we also needed to update our instructional unit guides and really make them a lot more robust because we had to help teachers understand how to gather materials from lots of different resources. So we also, in 2017, the standards were updated again. So again, we updated our instructional unit guides. And just as a reference, you'll see that some of our copyright dates are fairly old up there. So we really are looking forward to using some more current curriculum. One of the first things the work group did was they took the opportunity at our in-service in August to make sure to get as much feedback from all of our stakeholders as possible. We really wanted to know, what does Wichita want in a secondary literacy curriculum? So once that information was gathered, the work group met, and then they evaluated that, and they evaluated research from different curriculums that are being used and are available, and then they developed a pilot criteria and then what the process would look like. So some of the feedback from our teachers, one of the things that we wanted to point out is it was evident that technology is something that we really wanted to have a robust technology component as far as Google Classroom and other integration activities and things. Another thing that really stuck out to us was the writing instruction. We know that that's something that we wanted to make aligned district-wide. The work group chose 3 different curriculums to pilot. One of them was into literature, study sync, and the last one was my perspectives. Another thing the work group did was they identified pilot schools and pilot teachers. And one of the things about this process is the work group works hard to make sure that we have a lot of variety, and that whenever we do pilot, we take into consideration the years of teaching experience, because we really want to get as much feedback from stakeholders as possible on what their thoughts are. So in the fall, we began the year with a training, and then during the months of October and November, we had each one of the curriculum companies had professional development specialists that went out and worked with teachers to make sure that we were meeting their needs and supporting them. In October and November, we had the opportunity to invite different stakeholders in, and we used rubrics, and each of the curriculum was analyzed next to each other, so we could really see what exactly each curriculum had for us. Another thing that we did was we asked teacher candidates from WSU to also use that same curriculum and look through and use the same rubric, because we wanted to know if it was which curriculum they felt was user-friendly. In December, some of our literacy work group members also went and visited with some of the surrounding school districts to just get another perspective on different curriculums that other people have been implementing. Then December 12th, we had our literacy work group meeting where we had our work group members, and we also invited many other stakeholders to come. And what they did was they looked at all of the data that we've collected on each of the different curriculums. And from that, the literacy work group members took all of that feedback, and they met and provided a recommendation to adopt Pearson, which is my perspectives, and the vote was 43-1. So a few things about my perspectives. One of the things that really stood out to the stakeholders was the quality of the student consumables. Now, the consumables, each student will get their own, and they really get to take control of their own learning, and they'll get to write in the consumables. There's also the technology piece really stuck out to them as well. And also the foundational writing instruction. That alignment was something that we were really looking for, and we felt was very strong with this curriculum. We have set up, after the approval, if you guys approve of this, we do have set up some professional development for our teachers to support them. The 19th is our first opportunity. We have a district in-service day. And then we're planning on 3 different opportunities during the summer for teachers that want to get a head start and start working through some of that curriculum. And then in August, we'll also have opportunities for teachers to get some support. And that's it. Do you have any questions?
Okay. Are there questions from the board? Stan?
I only had one question. On the flexibility for the teachers to work this curriculum, can you give some examples of what you mean specifically by that? I mean, is it a vague flexibility, or?
The flexibility, a lot of our teachers wanted, some of our teachers like to use novels in different ways. So this curriculum will give our teachers an opportunity to use novels that are aligned with the curriculum, so they can do different things with those. And they also have opportunities to use the online components, as well as using the book, the teacher manual.
So the flexibility is whether or not to use the book versus technology, or how
Yes.
was the flexibility different between each program that you considered, or each curriculum
Each curriculum has similar components. I think the one thing that stuck out the most with this particular one, to the literacy work group, was the feedback from the teachers that actually piloted the curriculum. All of the teachers that piloted recommended the curriculum. They enjoyed using it. They were a proponent of it, whereas with the others, it had similar components, but we didn't have the same feedback from the teachers.
Hey, just one last question. When you, on the list here of the work group progress, which one did the teachers say were they the most interested in, or one reason why they leaned that way?
I think there were
Was it
multiple
at the order,
reasons.
or?
It's not in any specific order. The amount of data that was really gathered it's a lot of data. So it really wasn't just one thing.
Okay.
And when we look at all of the data, we take the names off of it so that
Right.
the people looking at it don't know. And they really do have a pretty long list of things that they look for, and then they just take all of that information and look and decide. The thing about a curriculum, it's not any curriculum, one curriculum is going to meet all of our needs. So we look for what we think is going to meet our needs the best.
Thank you.
Ben?
So after this appeared on the agenda, I did some Google searching, just and I was excited to see the diverse and current young adult literature. I saw a book lesson plan list that was part of this curriculum, and it was very extensive and pretty cool. Had a lot of modern books in it, which was neat to see. And then I also saw a bunch of other districts, our size and bigger, were opting to select this one as well. So that kind of reinforced for me that the choice is a good one.
Ernestine?
I see your list here about what were the things it offered. I wonder if you could tell me in different words, what makes this one more, what made the teachers like this one better?
That's kind of what I was trying.
Oh, okay.
You did a better job than
The teachers enjoyed this curriculum. They enjoyed teaching it. The feedback that we got from our pilot teachers was that this is something they could pick up and use right away. The teachers that piloted felt like the students enjoyed the curriculum. They felt like the students enjoyed working with the materials that were there. And that's very important to our teachers.
Did the WSU students like it?
Yes. Yes, they did.
That's good.
They did. They felt like it was very easy to understand. They
That's
could use
good.
it if
When
they-
we get some new teachers in here, we want to make them comfortable, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ron?
Could you explain the consumables? Are those textbooks, workbooks, notebooks, or is it just everything?
So what this curriculum is the teachers have a teacher edition that is not consumable. They will have it for the length of the adoption. But the students, much like, the students, what they'll have is a volume. So in grades 6 through 8, they'll have one volume that really they will, in their English class, they'll open it. They can read it with the teacher. They can mark in it. It's really theirs that they can use and take home. They can.
And it's
So-
something they can take home, and then, so there's things online, if they have a computer at
Yes.
home, they can work, I guess, from both, or,
Yes.
yes, okay.
And then at the end of the year, the students will just keep that. I mean, that is theirs.
And then the new set for the next year's students.
Yep. Then the next set comes
Yeah,
in August.
thank you.
This type of context of curriculum delivery is becoming more popular with the consumables, the digital content
Yeah,
across several content areas.
great.
I'm seeing no more questions. I just want to say, it's really good that we go to the depth to put pilots in for different programs and spend the time to make sure when we buy a large, actually a very expensive purchase like the English Language Arts, that we're getting exactly what our teachers want and what's best for our students. So thank you for all of your hard work and for your committee's hard work. Thank you. I don't think we have any more questions. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. This item is on our agenda tonight, so. Okay, next item.
Consent.